Hi everyone, and welcome to Google Cloud and Quantiphi. And whether you be here in the room or watching online, I want to wish you a very warm welcome to Mastering Conversational AI, a Google Cloud and Quantiphi workshop. The session name is also known as BRK 3009. So before I get started, I'd like to do some introductions. My name is Pak. I'm an engineering lead at Applied AI in Google Cloud, but I've also got a couple of friends with me. I've got Ishaan and Gaurav from Quantiphi, two very experienced conversational AI deployment practitioners, and they're going to help me explain why partners are so important. So before we get started, I want to start with the agenda to tell you what the story is going to look like today. We're going to start with mastering business value, because there's no point building an agent unless you make it do something very useful. And then we're going to talk a little bit about actually mastering conversational AI. How do you go about building these solutions and make them successful? And then we've got questions. So if we've got some time at the end, we'll open up the floor so that you can ask some questions as well. Okay, so before we go into all of that, I just want to talk a little bit about the product to make sure that we're talking all about the same product. We're talking here about conversational agents. It's up there highlighted in red. And it's part of the customer engagement suite with Google AI. We have other parts of the customer engagement suite, such as Agent Assist to help human agents, Insights to basically get you insights on why customers are interacting or how customers are interacting with your virtual agents and your human agents, as well as CCaaS, our contact center as a service, if you wanted that all out of the box. But today, it's just going to be conversational agents. Now, I'm going to do something a bit unusual. And before I start, I'm actually going to show you the key takeaways of this session so that you can keep them in mind while we go and present. So takeaway number one, Google Cloud partners are the key to your success. And the two things I want you to keep in mind as Ishaan and Gaurav present are their experience and their expertise. Second key takeaway is generative AI is here and it's ready for prime time. You saw the keynote. That demo was real and it was really live. So the technology now is ready for you to be taken advantage of. And then finally, the third takeaway is we can do all of this with Google Cloud. It's easy to get started because why? We've got a managed product approach. We've got a vertical integration from product all the way through our cloud infrastructure to our models. And we try and make it easy for you to get started. And I'll show you how. Okay, so we got all of that. Let's get started. So now I'm going to start the first section. I'm going to invite on stage Ishaan and Gaurav from Quantiphi to tell us a little bit more about how you can master business value with conversational AI. Ishaan, come on down.
Thanks, Pak. Thanks for setting the stage and the context. Hi, everyone. My name is Ishaan. I run the customer experience practice here at Quantiphi. Super excited to be here, and we have a lot to uncover, so we'll dive right in. So what are we here for, right? We're going to talk about how can we leverage conversational AI and generative AI to deliver business value at scale. The last two words being operative, right? Those are the key ones. As you can see on the screen, the approach to doing that is a three-step process before we get into the execution. Step one, defining success, which is very important because you want to know what defines success for you. Second, assessing the gap so that you know where you are and where you want to be. And then third, building a roadmap and a business case that you can statefully execute. Seems pretty straightforward, right? But still, only a certain percentage of organizations have been able to scale conversational AI and generative AI beyond pilots or beyond like a single business unit within their organization. The ones that have got it right are the ones who were able to do the step 1, 2, 3 right before they got into execution. So let's talk about what those steps are, right? Defining success. The most important and the first step in this process is define the outcomes that you're chasing, right? And in 9 out of 10 cases, it is predominantly improving customer experience, empowering your agents, and reducing cost, and in some cases, improving revenue as well. When we break these down further into analyzing what are the key levers that influence these outcomes, so if you want to improve customer experience, you would want to provide better self-service so that your customers are not waiting in queue for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or hours to talk to your agent. By providing better self-service, not only are you improving customer service and satisfaction, you're also reducing costs. Empowering agents with tools like agentic AI and agent assist can help them reduce the manual effort in their day-to-day jobs, making them feel more satisfied in their roles, and then also reducing the average handle time and making them ready for talking to the next customer. And then finally, modernizing your contact center infrastructure so that it can scale as per your business needs and is built in a way where it is natively integrated with AI from the onset. And all of this is backed by a robust mechanism where you can assess or you can drive insights from what your customers are saying to you through all the channels of engagement and driving the insights to predict consumer behavior better. And finally, once you've identified all the levers, the final step in this process is to identify those measurable KPIs that you can assess to sort of get a sense of where you are right now and where you want to be and track progress, right? KPIs like containment, first call resolution, average handle time, silence times, and even the amount of investments that you're making to train your agents. Contact center as an organization usually sees a lot of attrition, so organizations have to spend a lot of money in training and upskilling agents as they have to backfill those headcounts. So once we have all of these KPIs, or in some cases, what we see is organizations don't have these KPIs or don't have the necessary infrastructure to get to this information. So this is where Google and Quantiphi come in, and we help our customers do a thorough contact center assessment, which primarily revolves around, on one side, using conversational insights to analyze your historical data and get you all the KPIs that we just spoke about, so it gives you a sense of where you are. And then on the other side, we also do a comprehensive analysis of the ID side of things, right? So analyzing how your contact center is set up right now, what is the readiness and what is the state of your IT infrastructure, for example, APIs and their status in terms of availability and integratability. And with all of this information, we can help you build a cohesive roadmap, right? So by this stage, you have a complete understanding of where you are and what's the gap in terms of what success means to you and where you want to be. And now this is where the fun part starts, right? With all the information that you've gathered, you can create a very simple effort versus value prioritization matrix, which is essentially a function of how much cost you're incurring, that is, how many calls or chats are currently going unself-serviced. What is the degree of automation for each of these use cases that you've identified in the previous step, which means the percentage of APIs that are ready and available to provide end-to-end automation. And then the development complexity, which is a measure of how complex the user journey is and how many times will that agent have to talk to your backend systems in order to provide that end-to-end automation. So if you look at this chart here, right, what it tells you is you want to start off with the use cases that are there in the far right corner on the top, because those are the ones that you are spending the most amount of money on and has the highest level of automation. And in parallel, you want to work on, you want to work on the 7 to 8, 9, all these use cases that are there in the bottom left corner and try and move them towards the top right. So while you're working on modernizing your infrastructure internally, you're also delivering value to your customers by automating some of those use cases that you see on the top right. And then finally, with all this information, you can create a very holistic view of how you want to execute your roadmap and have a very objective point of view on how and when you can deliver transformation and what is the cost impact or the revenue enhancement that you can bring through modernizing your contact center operations by leveraging all the AI technologies, right? And now that you have an execution plan, you're ready, set to go, I'll hand it over to Gaurav, who's going to talk about how we have delivered the impact for a lot of our customers through this approach and what is that impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak. Thank you, Ishaan. Hi, everyone. For those of you who are here in 2018, you'll remember the launch of this solution. Having seen the evolution of the product over the years, I would like to bring to you the learnings we have seen building this solution for different customers. I'm Gaurav. I lead Quantify's AI portfolio. So think of this as a slightly unconventional burger. We are going to start on the edges. We're going to talk about how we collaborate with you guys, with our partner Google, and then we get into the toppings and the patty, where we are going to talk about how we actually go about doing a development. So starting on the top, our CX experts sit with you to understand your business priorities, your goals, your objectives. We understand these conversational agents are going to become the face and voice of your organization. So it is important for us to understand what is your mission statement, what are your beliefs, and align the persona of the solution to the same. During this whole process, we collaborate very closely with the Google team to ensure we are using the latest and greatest features. Not just that, but also future-proof your solutions to ensure the solutions we are building out align with the advancements Google is bringing to the table. Now, our team comes in, starts building out the solution architecture, start doing a development. There are two types of stories we typically see. One, where you might want to be modernizing your existing experience. You want to retain your existing contact center platform. You want to bring the power of conversational agent to modernize the customer experience. Or you might want to transform the end-to-end user experience by bringing the power of Google CCaaS along with other components of the solution. So both of these we can do. Then we start building out the use cases using the framework Ishaan talked about. We prioritize and we start doing a development. Many of these are also reusable frameworks like authentication, which can be used across different use cases. And then we start integrating all these use cases with your backend systems like CRM databases to ensure that we can give a personalized experience to your users. This integration is typically, we recommend to do it through a centralized fulfillment layer to ensure that the solution we are building out is scalable, is secure. During the journey, so as I said, we were actually a launch partner for the solution. We started our journey back in 2018. We have worked on more than 200 of such implementations. We realized that there are aspects of the journey which can be accelerated, and that is where we have built a suite of accelerators called collective.cx, which we leverage in these implementation to fast track time to value. We also understand there are different components of the solution which require meticulous focus, and that is where we have 3 sub-teams which focus on each of these different parts. There's a strategy team which is going to help you build your CX roadmap, identify what are the use cases you should be automating, what are the use cases you should not be automating, where you want human in the loop. It's going to continue to evolve. It's not a one-time thing. Your business priorities evolve, your businesses evolve, and that is where it's important that we keep evolving this roadmap as we go along. Early on, we realized we built technically very strong solutions, but we were still not seeing the adoption. And we kept asking why, what is that we are doing wrong? And what we realized, it's not the technical aspect of the solution. Where we were failing was actually the adoption of the solution was low because it's touching humans. We missed the most important factor in building out the solution. It's going to impact how users interact with your organization. It's going to impact how your agents leverage the conversational agents which have been built around. And that is where we set up this change management team, which works very closely with your team to help you drive maximum AI adoption of these use cases. We have an implementation team. This is the core part of the solution where we are building out the solution and integrating your backend systems. And there's a continuous improvement team which continues to see how the solution is performing. You might do a perfect design, build, test. There will be cases which will get left out. And this continuous improvement team, Hyper K team, continues to monitor where are your solution currently not able to automate. There are 2 types of use cases we typically come across. Either we missed out certain use cases, or we build the use cases, but we missed out a scenario, and that is where our team goes in and starts tuning these solutions further to ensure that we can drive best experience and drive higher containment. As I was saying, we understand time to value is crucial for you. We saw, like during these 200 implementations, we saw there are parts of the design development and managed which can be automated, which can be fast-tracked. And that is where we built this suite of accelerators called collective.cx, which help you expedite that journey. Ishaan already talked about the design phase where we don't rely just on gut. We actually build you a 100% data-backed roadmap. Development, that is the lengthiest part of the journey. If we can drive improvement, fast-track that, nothing like it. And that is where we have built a lot of solutions which can help you expedite that journey. For instance, there are use cases which are very common across all the industry, like password resets. I'm pretty sure all of you here need that use case. If you are a retailer, you need a solution which can help place an order. If you're a healthcare provider, you need a scheduling appointment solution. If you are in bank, you need a solution which can help you with your mortgage application. You don't need to build it from scratch. We have these pre-built conversational agents which can help, which you can tune further and you can use it in your business. Most of our customers also have existing DTMF IVRs, which may or may not have been documented over the years. We have built an IVR crawler which can go through your existing DTMF IVR, identify all the nodes, the branches, and convert them into AI intents. We use your historical call transcripts to understand how your user is interacting with your existing IVR or with your existing human agents. We use that to build out the conversational agents at a faster speed. Not just that, we understand the solution accuracy is very important. You should not hallucinate, and that is where we have built automated review engine which actually evaluates the solution across best practices and also test out the solution to ensure that it is performing at a high accuracy. We have different dashboards in the managed phase which help you understand how the solution is performing. We should be looking at automating them. And lastly, not most importantly, as I said, the first time solution may not be perfect, and that is where we have the continuous improvement which helps you identify how can you, what are the new use cases you should be building out, or how should you be tuning your existing use cases to drive best user experience and best containment. So as you can see, some of these offerings help you drive faster time to value, which I understand is very, very crucial in these kind of areas. Lastly, I want to show you this framework, these accelerators, some of the success this has been able to create for some of our customers. We worked with one of the largest telecom providers. We modernized their current experience with these conversational agents. They have more than 200 million conversations coming in annually. We are able to automate almost 1 out of every 2 of these conversations, driving more than 50 million OpEx benefits for them annually. What's unique about this is the scale of it. It is the largest conversation AI deployment out there. But more importantly, we believe in shared goals. How do we convince that we actually believe in that? And that is where the commercial model here is actually outcome driven. We don't get paid if we don't drive the containment. Shared win. We win when you win. The second one I would like to talk about is a healthcare provider we have been working with. This is the implementation we did across different departments. We are driving containment for 1 out of every 2 conversations, and we have been able to improve their agent productivity by 75%. This is where business meets tech. We have been able to revolutionize the way patients interact with this healthcare provider today. The next one is a work we have been doing with the internet services provider. We started this journey with them where they wanted to transform their whole user experience, customer experience. We are using the whole customer engagement suite, which Pak showed earlier, conversational agents, agent assist, insights, Google CCaaS. Change the way the customers interact with the organization today. We have completed a process already for chat. We are in the process of doing the same thing for voice channel. What's unique here is we started, like within the 6 months of this journey, we are not just able to get the solution out to production, but we are driving for 1 out of every 3 conversations we have been able to contain. Last one I would like to talk about is the work we have been doing with a bank, a large US bank. Again, end-to-end use of Google Customer Engagement Suite with Google AI. We have migrated 2,000 of their agents to Google CCaaS. We are using conversational agents to improve the user experience. What's unique about this one is the contact center they had that spanned across different contact center platforms. It was truly bifurcated, and we were able to consolidate all of that and bring them on Google CCaaS. So this will show you the impact we have been able to create for some of our customers. This is just a handful of them. There are 200 such implementations we have done. We'd be happy to talk about that more. But now I'll pass it over to Pac to show you what is the latest and greatest features which are coming, which can help you expedite this journey further. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Gaurav. And so what I'll do is I'll just pause here before I go on. And I think you see why it's so important, particularly if you're a customer, on why you want to use a partner. The amount of investment and experience they have in implementing these solutions really helps you because they've had all of this experience and investment, which means that you might not have to go through the pain that, for example, you might have if you were trying to deploy this for the first time. So for section 2, I'm going to talk about mastering conversational AI and present to you some of the new features in our new product, conversational agents. And I'll also tell you about how to build your first proof of concept using this product. So let's get started. Okay, so what is conversational agents? So I'm just going to go over some of the key features here very quickly so that you can get an idea. I'm not going to drain them all, but it's a managed product that provides a low-code environment. Why is that important? Because we have business users that might want to build a conversational agent. And we've got some features in there that help you accelerate your conversational agent deployment, such as support for hybrid agents, and I'll talk about that on the next slide. That means you can support the old deterministic style of agents as well as the new generative style of agents. We have generative assisted prompting for our generative agents, which means that you can have Gemini side by side with you to help you build your first playbook. We have managed RAG tools to help you ground your generative agent with data. And why is this important? Well, if you're going to use RAG and you'll say your data set is large, you don't have to build vector store databases. You don't have to build embeddings. We provide all of that in our managed pipeline that's high performance, as well as some new features to help you improve the performance of it. We also provide connectors to your backend systems that allow you to do useful things, such as connecting to your CRM systems or ordering systems to get customer profiles or to create orders, and all of that being managed on Google Cloud. We have integrations with clients, such as web, telephony, and chat clients, which means you don't have to build custom code if you want to integrate it onto your website or with your telephony system. We also have exports to BigQuery and Insights to allow you to understand how your end customers are interacting with your conversational agent, and you don't have to build that either. We've got some new features also coming with basically integrated evaluations to help you improve the performance of your agent. And then finally, we've got some new cool features around deterministic actions and code tools to help you build that determinism into your generative agents. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about deterministic versus generative agents. So I'm just going to point here on the left-hand side. Deterministic agents are what we know and what we launched previously with Dialogflow, NLU-based training phrases, basically turn-by-turn type bots. Generative agents on the right-hand side is what I'll be talking about today. They're LLM-powered. They can handle very complex problems without rules. And we've also got this one in the middle, which is hybrid agents. And that's unique to conversational agents because you can mix and match them. And what some of our customers have already started doing is they actually pick and choose how they want to implement, whether it be on deterministic or on generative, based on the type of use case they want. But for today, I'm just going to focus on the right-hand side and generative agents because we're going to just jump into the future. So I get asked this question a lot. How do I get started building a generative AI agent? And so I thought about this. I think about this question a lot because customers ask this a lot. And let me just let you in on a little secret. Up. So here's my answer. It's a very simple answer, and I want you to try and remember this, is you want to find the perfect human. And so what does that mean, and why does that matter? So I'm going to present to you here a human expert approach to developing a generative agent. So I'm going to show you here with my laser pointer, all the blue boxes are all the things that you might already have inside your enterprise. You will have a human agent implementing processes and tasks with some tools. And those tools are information systems, transaction systems, such as like, say, a CRM system or an ERP system. You might have human interactions with a workflow system like a BPM system, or say email, or say a document. And what you're trying to do when you build your new generative agent is you want to build these things here that are green on the right-hand side. You want to build these virtual allegories of a human agent to implement specific processes and tasks, and with tools so that it can do useful things. The challenge you've got as a developer or as a customer is the red arrow problem. I call it the red arrow problem. My team called it the red arrow problem. And that is, as a developer, you might not be an expert on the blue boxes. Right? The blue boxes, the experts are actually the human agents, the people doing that job, right? The people that know intimately how to do that job. And your developers are probably not able to do that, right? That job. They might start off knowing nothing about their job. So what you want to do actually is to close that knowledge gap, to find out as much as you can about those human experts so that you can build those green boxes and a very successful generative AI experience. And that's why getting an expert human matters. But how do we go about doing that? So I'm going to present to you 4 steps. The first one, I'm going to start with prompting. The second one is I'm going to then, once we've got the prompt, ground the agent with data. I'm going to then add some tools to make it do useful things. And then I'm going to provide you some practices on how to harden your agent to make sure that it's reliable. Okay, let's go. Step number 1, meta prompting. So who here has heard of meta prompting? Just raise your hand. Yeah, a couple of you. Fantastic. And so why does this matter? Well, meta prompting is all about using Gemini to prompt Gemini. And why does that matter? Because, well, Gemini has a lot of synthetic training data inside it. And so the moment you prompt it manually as a human, you're actually adding in noise. So it's much better to always use Gemini, to prompt Gemini, particularly for a generative AI solution. So here I've got a meta prompt template, and it's the one I always like to start with because generally everyone knows what company, what role they have, and what they're trying to do. And so when you want to build, say, a generative AI agent, the first thing you should do is use that prompt and then put it inside AI Studio or Vertex AI. And you get something like this. So over here, on the top right-hand side, let's say I work for Google Cloud, I'm an engineering lead, and I want help to create a presentation for our yearly conference at Next 25. Gemini returns with this. It returns with a persona, some responsibilities, and I've cut it out there at the bottom, but also some instructions on how it should help me. Now, you can literally put in anything you want here for the company employee role and objective, and I've actually tried this for about 85,000 different agents. It covers a wide variety of industries and roles, and we know that this process works really well. And so this will help you create your initial prompt. Now, step 2 is you might need to then start refining that prompt to get some more information about some of those green boxes I showed you earlier. So I'm going to give you some 3 keywords here: system prompt, instructions, and tools. These 3 keywords have very, very special meanings inside Gemini's training data. And so what you want to do is basically follow up that response from the first meta prompt with maybe one of these prompts here to basically help you identify some instructions to maybe have the agent do that job, maybe some tools that an agent in that position might want to use, like a CRM system or a database, and then the data and the data models as well for those tools. And Gemini will propose that. Why is that important? Because the combination of those 3 things are what Gemini will use when you're using conversational agents to basically ground the responses to build you a very reliable generative AI agent. Okay, so let's have a look at the meta prompting feature now that we've got inside conversational agents. You can see here, when you start conversational agents, I'm going to start with a blank agent. I'm going to now create a meta prompt. I'm going to ask Gemini to help me prompt my playbook. It comes up with the playbook name, goal, and instructions. I insert it in, and I can start interacting with that bot straight away. And it works perfectly. And I'm not surprised because prompting Gemini works really well. Perfect. So step 1 done. Step 2, how about grounding with data? So we've got a feature called Data Store, which I'm going to just take you through here, how to set it up. It's a managed RAGs feature. So what you can do is in conversational agents, you can add your data store, and then you can connect your data store to, say, your website. You just provide your URL, and then we will index your website, create the vector store database, and then have it ready for use inside your playbook. Note that for websites, you will have to answer a domain challenge, but fundamentally, this is a much easier way for you to build a conversational agent if you've got data already in a website or maybe on a GCS bucket, to basically just automate all of that build away. There are a couple of other things that I'd like to show you as well, and that is like the observability in the simulator to optimize your performance. It's a managed solution, so you will need to maybe optimize it, and then also some evaluation features to baseline and monitor changes, right? As your data changes, potentially the performance of your data store changes. But I'll treat that at the end on step 4 for hardening. So let's have a look at some of these new features on a demo agent I've got here. So now for observability, based on this input, we can see the rewritten query. We can also see the various snippets that's been pulled out from the actual managed data store. And then we can also look at the performance of it, because obviously there are multiple LLM calls, and we get like the nice waterfall graph showing us exactly how long the agent has taken. So with this feature here, which is coming soon, you'll be able to start optimizing your data store by changing either your customized prompt or maybe the data that you've indexed in the data store. Neat. Step 3. So we've got the prompt, we've grounded it on data. Now we want to start adding tools and connectors to make it do useful things. Well, as we announced in the keynote, we've got connectors, and connectors are now inside the console. You can go there on tools, click on connector, and we can see here some of these pre-built connectors that exist. Let's go ahead and select Salesforce. And in Salesforce, we've got documentation, because guess what? We're using Google Cloud's integration connectors. And so this is our managed solution that creates secure connectors to all of these third-party systems. And right here, you can see here, it's all just done inside a wizard. There's no more cloud functions to create. There's no more custom code. I just fill out all of those, that wizard, and then I deploy it. And that's it. It'll be available as a tool for me for use inside my conversational agent. We'll be adding to these connectors during 2025. So what you'll see in the console coming will be more of those integration connectors from the overall collection that we have here at Google Cloud. Very cool. Now we get to the interesting part. So we've got the initial agent, we've got the data store, grounding on data, and we have tools to make it do useful stuff. So we want to make it like a little bit more robust. So there are 3 things that I want to show you here. Firstly, conditional actions, which will help you bring deterministic, responses from the actual generative agent. Code blocks to help you build and mock tools directly inside the console, or even build some very, very cool, grounding tools based on the conversation or the situation that the generative agent might find itself in. And then finally, evaluations, which is in preview to help you improve the performance of your agent. Okay, so conditional actions. How does this work? So a new feature here, you can add a conditional action, and you can specify the event or the lifecycle stage of the actual generative agent as it's running inside our runtime, and then choose what you want it to do. So, for example, at a specific lifecycle stage, you can provide a fixed response. You don't have to let the generative AI agent create the response for you, right? Or you can actually make it call a tool under certain conditions. And this is very useful because customers would tell us, on certain conditions, I want it to say this and only this. And in certain conditions, I want it to do this and only this. Well, now you can do that straight inside the console with conditional actions. Very cool. You can also handle some system events that might go wrong, which is also very useful. Like there are some error conditions, and all of those are available for you to treat inside conditional actions as well. Now, here comes the very cool part, and this is basically the actions with Python. So inline now, inside Dialogflow, you can define code in Python. And you can see here, I've got basically a definition of the actual function, plus also some documentation. And we convert that and we inject it inside the actual runtime of conversational agents. And what that means is you don't have to deploy on Cloud Functions when you want to make, say, a tool call. You can actually just build them directly in here inside your conversational agent. So over here in this demo, what's going on. We've got an agent, a demo agent that's taking a drinks order. And what we wanted to do at every step of the drinks order, we wanted to validate, right, the actual drinks order. So we've got here, let's have a look through it, checking flavor, checking ice levels, checking if they want boba or not, checking the size. And you can see here that conversational agents, based on the instructions, selects the correct action, executes the Python code, validates the input from the customer, returns the response back to the tool, and then grounds Gemini on like how it should respond and what it should do. Very useful for improving the precision when it finally calls, right, the tool to place the order. But there's one hot tip that I also want to point out here is that if you are building your first agent and you're not sure, for example, of what your CRM data might look like, or for example, what your ordering system might look like, you can mock the CRM data or your ordering systems with code blocks. And that will give you a very good indication of how those systems will perform, but you can also optimize your prompting directly in the code blocks. So when it comes to actually building your integration, you will know exactly how you should be building that. I love this feature. Okay, evaluations. So we already have this evaluations tool, which is an open source Colab notebook that we provide, and I'm only just animating it there just to show you how complex it is. I said there was a key takeaway for this session that we'd make things easy, and clearly this is not very easy, right? There's a URL there just to make, of course, to show you how easy it is. But if you want full control over your evaluations and you really want to basically make sure or basically build like, I don't know, some sort of event-driven kind of system based on your evaluations, this is probably a good starting point. So we got the Colab. But actually more interesting is this, the evaluations feature, which will be coming soon. And what this will allow you to do is you'll be able to upload your, your test set and run evaluations directly inside the console, and then we'll give you basically feedback on the performance. So this is particularly good with data stores because, for example, if you've got, say, a data store and you have a known baseline of performance, you can basically upload it, run it. Then when you update your data store, say with new data, you can just run it again and see basically what losses you have. Excellent. Okay, so we've gone through everything right now, but before I kind of close out, I want to show you how to put all of that together and then build an agent within minutes. So for those of you who've been on the show floor, you might have seen the demo agent that was on the show floor and maybe in one of the other sessions that was just before me. And they built their agent their way. And then I sat down with one of my colleagues, Igor, and he said, well, Pak, do you want to try building this your way? And I said, yeah, I'll try building it my way. And so this here is actually a screen recording of me in that meeting with Igor. And we did it in about 15 minutes. And it's actually not edited, it's live, but it's a GIF, so it's like a bit choppy, but it shows you exactly how we did it. And I'm going to talk you through it as soon as I click. Ready? Let's go. Okay, so we start with this requirements document here that was provided by our product managers. So they gave us some description of what the agent should look like. Fantastic. I take that, I paste it into AI Studio with a meta prompt, and I say, create me the system prompt based on those requirements. And then AI Studio comes back with my initial prompt. Fantastic. Now I have some follow-ups to this, such as instructions, that keyword, right? Based on those requirements, give me the instructions that I should give to the agent so that it can follow it and implement that use case. And then I say, well, how about some tools? What kind of tools will you need to basically ground that use case? It provides me the tools in the data model. Now I need to simplify it to optimize it for conversation agents. So I'm asking the agent to simplify those instructions. I copy and paste that directly inside conversational agents. I make some minor tweaks and changes to make sure that it's going to run well. In here, let's have a look at that. Okay, and then I work with it, I simulate it, and it works straight away. It's calling all the tools correctly. It's responding very naturally. It's fantastic. So that's basically end-to-end how you can combine everything I've just presented to you today about meta prompting. In this case here, I meta prompted not only with the prompt, but with actually requirements documents. And you could use, say, a video of someone actually doing that task or another requirements document. You can put in whatever you want into that meta prompt. And then a set of follow-ups on the 3 keywords, right? System prompt, tools, and instructions to basically target, right, the elements of the prompt that I want. And then finally, putting it all together inside conversational agents and testing it so that we can see it work. Cool. So before I end off, I just want to now close with the key takeaways. So takeaway number 1, like our Google Cloud partners are really key to your success. You know, from my perspective, I'm in engineering. You know, we don't work with customers directly to find out all the things that we need to, or that you need to basically succeed with your deployment, right? And there are so many other things outside of just configuring the product that allows you to actually succeed as a customer when you deploy conversational AI. And I think you saw all of that with Ishaan and Gaurav when they presented to you their methodology. And I think that's just like, just a little opening actually of all the real things that they do to make sure that their customers are successful. And also all of our other Google Cloud conversational AI partners do to make sure they're successful. The second takeaway is generative AI is here and we're ready for prime time. You've seen it in the demo. You've seen it also on my screen share here today. These bots are ready for use. And takeaway 3, with Google Cloud, we make it easy to get started with our managed platform plus all our integrations and features directly inside the platform. I mean, if you had to consider your alternative, right? If you were to build this all from scratch, you would have to be building all of that additional infrastructure, whether it be connectors to systems, whether it be connectors to telephony, whether it be like, operational dashboards into BigQuery. You'd be building all of that. And then you'd have to be deploying it. And then you'd have to be putting security over it. But we do that all for you inside our managed solution. And that's why it's easy for you to get started. Okay, but we're not done. If you're watching here today, we've also got all of these other sessions that we've presented here at Next 25. So I've just got them all up there. Take a shot of that. And you can look them up. They'll be available as recordings, I think on the Google Cloud website. So you can look into those and find out more about conversational agents and customer engagement suite. I'm just going to flick this slide up and just say your feedback is greatly appreciated. Please go ahead and complete the session survey inside the mobile app. And with that, I'd just like to thank you for turning up today for our session and for being here at Next 25. Please put your hands together as well for my friends, Ishaan and Gaurav from Quantiphi.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.